people are like, isn't it over yet? Aren't you glad it's over? What do you mean? It's not over for us. It's never over for us.
Anthony Bilodeau appeals his second-degree murder conviction in the deaths of 2 Métis hunters.
In this house, we are expected to be able to conduct ourselves in a manner that provides excellent governance for Nunavut youth.
A Nunavut MLA is suspended for a second time after another code of conduct violation regarding alcohol.
I'm hoping that this will open up those doors to show that I am a contender in Canada.
And a Muay Thai fighter from Winnipeg wins a World Welterweight Championship. Good evening, I'm Savannah Kelly. Welcome to APTN National News. The family of 2 Métis hunters were in an Edmonton court today to hear the appeal of Anthony Bilodeau, who is convicted of second-degree murder in 2022 for killing Jacob Sansom and Maurice Cardinal. Anthony Bilodeau's father, Roger Bilodeau, was also convicted in 2022 for manslaughter in connection to with the hunters' shooting deaths after a high-speed chase that happened in a rural Alberta community in 2020. The appeal court justices are now reviewing the arguments for the appeal, with lawyers for the Bilodeaus saying a phone conversation between the father and son just before the altercation was not fully allowed as evidence. Roger Bilodeau appealed his conviction last September, and a decision in that case has still not been announced.
We've been waiting for what month is it? It's March.
6 months.
March
Yeah.
6 months today for Rogers and appeal hearing, and we're still sitting here waiting, and now we're going to have to wait God knows how long for this hearing. Hopefully not near as long, but it's a constant. It's always like it's people are like, isn't it over yet? Aren't you glad it's over? What do you mean? It's not over for us. It's never over for us.
It was all smiles and handshakes as National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak met Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for one-on-one talks. This photo op of the meeting happened Tuesday evening. According to the AFN, it was to discuss First Nations rights, priorities, and needed investments leading into the 2024 federal budget, which will be tabled next month. Woodhouse-Nepenak opened her remarks by thanking Trudeau for the $40 billion First Nations child welfare settlement.
You have been kind to First Nations. I know that we have a lot of gaps to still close to 2030. We have commitments to 2030, and I'm here to try and work with you to close some of those gaps. And I know that First Nations from coast to coast to coast depend on us having a good relationship and to try and work out some of our issues every single day.
Métis Nation Saskatchewan is holding a 2-day conference to address systemic barriers around housing and homelessness. The conference will allow attendees an opportunity to voice their opinions for a comprehensive overview of housing insecurity. Our reporter Rachel May has more.
To be able to see the disconnect from governments with Indigenous people, Métis people, and First Nation, it hurts to see that.
Before he was president of Métis Nation Saskatchewan, Glenn McCallum had first-hand experience with homelessness.
I was homeless at one time, and to be able to make it is to be able to have confidence and believe that it could be different.
McCallum explained growing up with parents who almost lost their lives to residential schools and being a residential day school survivor himself. Seeing a room full of people dedicated to helping those who fall through the cracks is rewarding.
When you start seeing people respond positively, like the federal and provincial governments, industry, institutions, it's a great place to be.
Métis Nation Saskatchewan's Director of Social Infrastructure, Jason Mercredi, said a top priority is securing funding for projects.
There's a very small amount of pool in this province, whether it's from the feds or the province, to address these issues.
Mercredi said that the conference is focusing on getting a variety of voices to ensure all systemic barriers are addressed when it comes to housing insecurity. The 2-day conference wraps up tomorrow in Saskatoon. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A Nunavut representative will no longer be attending the Legislative Assembly due to a code of conduct violation regarding alcohol. The MLA for Amatuk, Jolie Kernick, has been suspended by the Legislative Assembly this week for allegedly being intoxicated for the second time while working as a member of the Assembly. Earlier this year, he resigned his cabinet portfolio of Culture and Heritage, as well as being minister responsible for Alberta Energy Corporation. Kernick was previously suspended for intoxication in June 2022. Iqaluit-Sina MLA Janet Brewster led the motion for a suspension.
In this House, we are expected to be able to conduct ourselves in a manner that provides excellent governance for Nunavum youth. And when someone is intoxicated, they cannot. And Mr. Kernick has admitted in the past that he has problems with addictions. Many of us have offered support, and I ask that his community wrap around him in compassion, knowing that so many people, so many Nunavum youth suffer the same issues and problems.
Scientists say the Arctic Ocean could be without ice in the next few years. A new study from the University of Colorado suggests the ocean could experience its first ice-free days before 2030. Researchers say those conditions could last for the entire month of September as soon as 2035. If that happens, the ecological impact is expected to be significant. Warmer ocean temperatures have already decimated snow crab populations. The Curl Tailings Pond spill began in May 2022 in northern Alberta. However, nearby Indigenous communities were not told about the spill for 9 months. On Tuesday evening, the Alberta Energy regulator showed up to a meeting in Fort Chipewyan. The purpose was to answer questions about Imperial Oil's Curl mine site. Our Edmonton online reporter Danielle Parody was at that meeting and joins us now. Danielle, you said in your online article that the meeting was tense. Can you set the scene for us? What made it so tense?
Yeah, so the meeting in Fort Chip, there were quite a few people who were really frustrated, both in the delay in the visit. So the spills, the notifications about the spills, and even APTN story was about a year ago, and there had been visits from Imperial Oil, but there had not yet been visits from the Alberta Energy regulator. So people were feeling frustrated about that. And then as the meeting went on, a lot of questions that people had, they felt were not being answered. One of the questions was, what is being done to remediate the area where there were tailings pond spills?
And remind us why this meeting happened in the first place.
Yes, so from May 2022 to November 2023, there's actually 3 incidents that resulted in over 5.3 million liters of tailings pond leaks, and also other contaminated water spilling into the nearby watershed. There was a 9-month delay from when the Alberta Energy regulator became aware of the tailings pond leaks to when they actually notified the communities. So that was the initial incident that really upset community. Then the overland spill, which is where the majority of that 5.3 million liters came out. So overall, there was a real lack of trust, and that's what necessitated the need for this meeting.
And Fort Chipewyan's chief had a surprise for the Alberta Energy regulator. What was that?
Yes, so towards the end of the meeting, Chief Alan Adam came up and he handed a lawsuit to Lori Pusher. So the lawsuit is suing them for the tailings pond leak and the failure to notify.
And what is the lawsuit asking for?
It's asking for the Alberta Energy regulator to take all reasonable and necessary steps to remediate where possible, and then also to prevent any future leaks and spills. They're asking for all or part of the royalties that Alberta received during that time, which would be somewhat in the neighborhood of $500 million in damages.
And outside of the lawsuit, what's next for this issue?
Well, Imperial Oil has confirmed that there's still ongoing seepage in the area. Although it's nothing like the overland spill that we saw, there's still leaks, and they have continued testing, but they're saying that their testing is showing there's not adverse effects to wildlife, fish,
or drinking water. There's also an Environment Canada investigation that's been going on for several months now, and I don't know when we're going to see the results of that. So there's still some developing aspects of the story.
Well, Danielle, we'll have to leave it there for now, but thanks for taking some time for us today.
Thank you.
We need to step aside for a short break. Coming up, we'll take a look at how Team Yukon is preparing for the Arctic Winter Games. Plus, one of our own here at APTN has won the World Welterweight Muay Thai Championship.
And I've been in this sport in a decade, and I've been able to accomplish a lot in a decade that some people don't accomplish throughout their whole fight career.
Welcome back to APTN National News. The 2024 Arctic Winter Games start this weekend. 8 teams from around the circumpolar north like Greenland, Nunavik, and Nunavut will head to Matsu, Alaska to compete across 20 different divisions. Our reporter Sarah Connors spoke with athletes from Team Yukon and how they're feeling about the upcoming games.
Hello, Team Yukon! All right, that's better.
In just a few days, more than 350 Yukon athletes, coaches, and other support staff will head to Matsu Valley, Alaska for the 2024 Arctic Winter Games.
You won! You won! You won! You won!
Friday, members of Team Yukon gathered at Whitehorse's Shipyards Park to kick the occasion off with a pep rally.
There's going to be some tough competition. I know you're going to make our territory proud. Matsu Valley will not know what hit them when Team Yukon shows up.
This is also a chance for you to cheer on your teammates, make new friends,
have a great experience and really experience everything that the games have to offer.
The biennial games are a high-profile circumpolar sporting competition for northern and Arctic athletes, many of whom are Indigenous. That includes 18-year-old Ta'anquachin athlete Kiana Lees. Lees will be competing in the Dene Games. Today, she's practicing the snow snake, one of the 5 events included in Dene Games.
It's pretty much where you just throw a stick along the ground to try and get it as far as you can, and it was used back in the day to hunt animals on the ice while they were laying down.
She's most excited to meet other athletes.
Like, it's a bonus if you get a medal, but it's not what it's all about. It's about all the memories that you make.
Across town, 16-year-old Carson Nelson is warming up for Arctic sports. It's a repeated test of an athlete's explosive strength. While the Bonaparte First Nation member is injured at the moment, he'll be ready to go just in time for the games.
Almost every specific event in Arctic sports is like jumping, which is very different from all the other sports I do.
Team Yukon leaves for Matsu on March 9th. The 2024 Arctic Winter Games take place March 10th to the 16th.
Arctic Winter Games 2024!
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
A jab, a kick, and a win. Winnipeg Muay Thai fighter Ashley Viner shares her journey to earning a world title championship. Sav Jonza has more.
So your one would be jab, and then your knee. So what would happen is you'd bring your hand back to your face, and you'd come up straight, and you'd put this hand down.
I'm learning the art of Muay Thai from Ignite Fight's newest international welterweight champion of the world. Ashley Viner has been working hard towards that triumphant title for almost a decade.
I would say the first 3-4 weeks of training, you're super motivated. You're like, yeah, I'm going to run every day. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then 4 weeks in, you're tired, you're depleted, you're living off of a minimal diet. You're trying to cut weight if you have to.
Muay Thai is similar to boxing, but uses fists, elbows, shins, and knees to fight. In February, Viner's years of dedication and discipline paid off.
It's your winner by unanimous decision, out of the red corner,
It was exciting. I was happy. I was extremely emotional. I had gone in 2023. I had fought 6 times and I had lost all 6 of my fights. I had 3 championship fights and I lost all 3. So I was mentally feeling defeated. I was contemplating stepping back in the ring. I, was contemplating, am I going to continue doing this?
Though the Winnipeg-based fighter almost quit before her big win, a trip to where the martial art began reignited her spirit.
So I had the opportunity to go train in Thailand, and I took the whole pressure of fighting out of it, and I wanted to learn the culture. I wanted to learn the history behind the training, and I came back and I feel more mentally prepared to go into the ring. It's not such a pressure I feel anymore, like I have to get in there and I have to perform a certain way. It's just getting into the ring and performing to the best of your ability.
Viner, who is Black and Métis, has won multiple titles in her career so far. She's ranked #1 in Canada by the Muay Thai World Cup and has received an offer to join Team USA. Despite the success, she says it's frustrating to not yet be recognized by her own country to represent Team Canada.
I'm hoping that this will open up those doors to show that I am a contender in Canada. I have fought internationally. I'm ranked #1, so why am I not getting the fights that I should be getting? And why is USA picking me up before my own country is?
A force to be reckoned with, Viner says of all her accomplishments, she's most proud of the time she's put in.
But I have fought some girls who have been in this sport their whole lives, and I've been in this sport in a decade, and I've been able to accomplish a lot in a decade that some people don't accomplish throughout their whole fight career. So I think that just goes back to being disciplined and wanting a goal and working towards that goal.
Viner now owns her own gym along with her husband, where they coach other fighters on how to harness their inner strength. Sav Jonza, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
The 2024 Canadian Screen Award nominations are out, and there's no shortage of Indigenous nominees and some familiar faces. We'll tell you about it after the break. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Arnold Flett shared this photo from the historic Forks in downtown Winnipeg, showing the snowy weather picking up here in the city. Thanks for sharing that, Arnold. Be sure to send your photos to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now, let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Over on the East Coast, 2 degrees in Halifax and +3 in Fredericton. Nain, sunshine, -10, Happy Valley Goose Bay, -5. Val-d'Or, sunshine and 3 degrees there, Saint-Gilles, +10. Sarnia, 7 degrees, mostly cloudy there, North Bay, +4. Wawa, 5 degrees and sunshine there, Timmins, +2. God's Lake, snowy and -10, Puckatawagan, sunshine and -8. Gimli, 7 degrees, mix of sun and cloud there, Barons River, -7 and snowy. Regina, -11, Yorkton, snowy and -11 there as well. Stony Rapids, 8 degrees there, La Ronge, sunny and -10. -5 and sunshine for Fort McMurray, Peace River, 0 degrees. Calgary, 0 degrees and sunshine there, Edmonton, +1. Bella Coola, snowy, 7 degrees there, Kamloops, +3. Prince George, 0 degrees, Fort Nelson, sunshine and -4. Mayo, snowy and -6 there, Old Crow, -22. Norman Wells, snowy and -17, Yellowknife, -16. Paulatuck, -28, mix of sun and cloud, and Nuvik, -27. Baker Lake, -27 there, Cambridge Bay, sunshine and -33. Arctic Bay, -33, mix of sun and cloud there, and Igloolik, -34. Survivors and descendants of the stolen generations came together at events around Australia to mark the 16th anniversary of the National Apology. Here's a story from our friends at NITV.
In Mount Druitt, in Western Sydney, a smoking ceremony kicked off the day.
The whole apology is recognition and respecting our situation. So it's very important for everybody. A lot of people have a different opinion. Somebody will say it's just another day. Somebody will say, no, this is really important. So there's a variation. 16 years on, then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd's apology played on screen.
This blemished chapter in our national history.
Elders looking back to that day.
I was there. I was down there when they, when Rudd made the apology, and I cried. I cried. It was a great day.
Tears come rolling down my eyes. I was so proud and so happy with that speech.
Today's event hosted by Link Up New South Wales, an organisation that assists Aboriginal people who've been directly affected by past government policies.
We decide once a year on February the 13th to actually, not to celebrate because that's the wrong word, but just acknowledge what our ancestors, what our elders and what the stolen generation have been through, and we actually hold an event in Mount Druitt every year.
The response, the community all coming together gave me goosebumps. Like it's very emotional day. It does mean a lot, you know, especially to our stolen generations.
Though significant, questions of what progress has been made since the apology have been raised.
Just words at the moment, and it has been words for a long time. They need to do more.
I think that there's so much to do, and each and every time somebody, good organisations make a step, they seem to be shoved back with lack of funding or change of ministers or what have you, re-election. So yeah, we just keep soldiering on.
In Melbourne, a similar event took place.
I know that for some of us it will feel like it only happened. It is so vivid in our collective memory. For others it will seem like it was so long ago, and for some it happened and nothing much has changed.
And in the country's capital, calls have been made for better compensation for survivors.
New South Wales, South Australia and Tasmania have all had schemes that can at best be described as ungenerous and poorly constructed, or perhaps more accurately, and remember I'm speaking for me and me only, tight-fisted and mean. And both Western Australia and Queensland have to date done nothing, as if doing nothing is an acceptable outcome.
Ricky Kirby, NITV News.
Huge representation for Indigenous peoples this year at the 2024 Canadian Screen Awards. Nominees were announced this morning for the CSAs, which recognize excellence in Canadian television, film, and digital media. It was a big year for APTN as well. The network received 30 nominations today. APTN National News anchor Dennis Ward received his first solo nomination for Best News Anchor National for the September 30th special event Remembering the Children. APTN Investigates was also nominated for 4 awards, including Best News or Information Series. In the film category, Hey Victor is nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Its star, co-writer, and director Cody Lightning is nominated for Best Performance in a Leading Role Comedy. TV series Acting Good is nominated for Best Ensemble Performance for a Comedy. Dominating the television category is the APTN and Crave co-production Little Bird, which focuses on the effects of the 60s scoop. It received 19 nominations, including Best Drama Series. 2 actors on the show, Darla Contois and Ellen Jade, are nominated for Best Lead Performer in a Drama Series. Contois was excited for her first nomination.
It was just total disbelief and shock because just being, a small town girl from the reserve, like I was never expecting something like this. So it just feels like I just feel really grateful. It's just like when people that you don't know are rooting for you and supporting you and recognizing you, it feels really great.
And that's all the time we have for your Wednesday news. I'm Savannah Kelly. Marcy Miigwech, thanks for joining us. Take care and have a great night.